In a distant kingdom, shrouded in mist and forgotten by time, a woman named Elara lived in solitude atop the towering cliffs of Eldermere. Once a radiant enchantress, she had been cursed by a vengeful sorcerer, doomed to never know love again. The spell twisted her magic into thorns, wrapping around her heart, ensuring that any who dared to care for her would be driven away by an unseen force. For decades, she dwelled in her crumbling tower, her laughter silenced, her touch feared, until the world believed her to be nothing more than a ghostly legend. Then came Kale, a wandering warrior with a past as shadowed as the scars upon his back. He had heard whispers of the cursed woman of Eldermere, not as a warning, but as a plea, for his own heart had grown numb after years of battle, and he wondered if her curse was the key to breaking his own. When he scaled the treacherous cliffs and stood before her tower, Elara's voice, like frost on the wind, demanded he leave. But Kale, stubborn as the mountains, refused. "I did not come to fear you," he said. "I came to free you." At first, Elara scorned him, certain his resolve would crumble like all the others. But Kale returned each dawn, leaving wildflowers at her door. Speaking of sunrises she hadn't seen in years, slowly, against her will, the ice around her heart began to thaw. Yet the curse fought back. Storms raged when he drew near. Phantom whispers hissed in his ears. And once, an unseen force hurled him against the stones. But Kale, bloodied and bruised, only smiled. "If the curse fears me this much," he panted, "then I must be close." One fateful night, under a blood-red moon, the curse struck its final blow. As Kale reached for Elara's hand, dark tendrils of magic lashed out, binding them both in agony. "You see now?" Elara wept. "Love is my prison." But Kale, gripping her hand tighter, whispered, "No, love is the key." With his last strength, he pulled her close and pressed his lips to hers, not in passion, but in defiance. A blinding light erupted, the tower trembled, and the curse shattered like glass. When the silence fell, Elara gasped. The weight of decades lifted, her magic no longer a cage, but a song. Kale, weak but alive, cupped her face. "Tell me," he murmured, "do you feel it?" And for the first time in 100 years, Elara smiled. Yes, not just the rush of her unbound heart, but something deeper, the certainty that love was no longer a curse, but a promise. From that day on, the cliffs of Eldermere were no longer a place of sorrow, but of legend, a tale of how the last enchantress and the scarred warrior defied fate itself. And if travelers swear they still see them, wandering hand in hand where the sea meets the sky, well, some spells are better left unbroken.